So today was day one of the open media part of OTAs for the New York Giants. We got to see Russell Wilson and Jaxson in action, some of the new guys. OTAs still do not include pads, but it is a level up from rookie minicamp. This is when the guys start to build the foundation. This is where the leaders establish themselves, all that good stuff. And according to many reports I saw, Russell Wilson made a few amazing throws that really stood out, and that was the main takeaway from the day. In this video, I want to talk a little bit about OTAs and what we saw, because there were a few guys that stood out and looked really solid. And even though it is just OTAs, in the NFL every single day is important, but I'm not going to drag out what happened at OTAs. I'll just give my breakdown in a couple of minutes, and then I also want to talk about some other news and things going on with this team. I'll go over the Tyreek Hill trade rumors, give my thoughts on that, and so much more. But first, before I get into everything, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind. We are on the road to 60,000 subscribers, and with your support, I believe that we can get there super fast. Alright, so one thing that Brian Daboll has been constantly speaking about through the early phases of this offseason is how the Giants have had pretty much a perfect attendance for everything. The guys have shown up, they've been there, and they've been ready to put in work and learn and grow. And then also Malik Ngata is of course in rehab / coming out of rehab. He has been around and participated, but here's what Brian Daboll himself had to say about the Malik Ngata situation and how they are handling him in his press conference.
Yeah, Malik's really just caught the ball. Malik will be out here today, but he won't be participating. We're being mindful of his toe that he's had. Nothing serious, but we're being smart with him in terms of the rehab part of it. So that's where we're at.
Did he have a procedure of some sort?
He didn't. Nope.
Just needs rest.
Yeah, and again, they have a plan. Our doctors, our trainers, if you will, have a plan to kind of move him along, and he's been doing a good job with that.
Anyways, in terms of the footage that was released from today, we got to see a few basic clips of the team stretching. We got to see some 7-on-7 and 11-on-11 drills. Today was just a great day to see everyone out on the field, because the Giants made a lot of noise this offseason. As most of you guys already know, Russell Wilson looked strange in a Giants uniform. It was weird to see. You had Jaxson out there, even though we got to see him a bit in rookie minicamp. Same with Abdul Carter and a bunch of other guys. One player that I personally was looking for, and one player that I think needs to make a big leap in year 2, is Theo Johnson. He was of course the rookie tight end last year, but now it's time to level up and become a weapon for whoever ends up behind center. I'm assuming it will be Russell Wilson at first, maybe even a bit of Jameis Winston as the second option before we see Dart out there. We all know what Malik Ngata can do, but another pass catcher needs to step up and provide production in 2025, and I think Theo Johnson can be that guy. We saw him doing some ladder footwork drills, some blocking stuff. It was just great to see him back out there. The Giants also did some ball security drills where the players were going through the footwork ladder with the ball and the coaches were trying to punch the ball out. Obviously with younger teams, even though the Giants now do have some experience on this roster, the core of this team is young, and ball security is one of the most important things to the success of a young team. Alright, now let's move on from OTAs and talk about some of the news going on with this team right now. Well, I guess this still was technically from OTAs, but we have some news regarding the quarterback rotation, because we just learned the initial order of the depth chart, and it was Wilson at 1, Winston at 2, Dart at 3, and Tommy DeVito at the 4 if he ends up on the roster come week 1. I think this order was pretty obvious and has been for a few months though. The Giants brought in Russell Wilson to kind of get them through the year. That was until they made the move to trade up back into the first round and select Jaxson out of Ole Miss. A move that kind of shocked a lot of people when it happened. But now Russ's job is to be a mentor and help develop Dart. I'm trying to think of a good real world comparison. It's almost like when you announce you're leaving your job, or you're like retiring, and you stick around for a year to help with the transition and help the new guy. That is kind of like what's going on here, except for the fact that Wilson has never played for the Giants before either. But as we all know, he has a ton of NFL experience. He has won a Super Bowl. His prime was one of the best that we have ever seen over the last 10 years. And even though he had his struggles in Denver and in Pittsburgh, he still has some juice left in the tank. I think he could help the Giants win a few games while he's at it. And again, his main purpose is so that the Giants don't have to throw Dart out into the wildfire in week 1. He can just sit back and watch and learn and take it all in. Very rarely throughout NFL history has rushing a QB ever worked out. I guess Jaden McDaniels played all last year, but still, for the most part, almost every great quarterback sat at some point early on in their career. There were a lot of tweets made throughout the day as OTAs went on. I know a lot of people like to overreact and just come up with a bunch of storylines and false narratives, but as you would expect, some of the best throws did come from Russell Wilson, including a toe tap touchdown, so take it for what it's worth. It really is just exciting to see him, Dart, and all the guys out on the field. So take it for what it's worth, but it really is just exciting to see him, Dart, and the guys out there. Anyways, moving on to something else. Recently, Connor Hughes was asked about if he thinks Jalin Hyatt can re-emerge as a deep threat with Russell Wilson, and this is what he said. There's no reason there shouldn't be 2 or 3 deep passes dialed up a game to take advantage of it. A lot of this falls on Hyatt though. He mentally checked out at points last season after clashing with the coaching staff and upper management. There is no reason why he should have been as uninvolved as he was at points of last season. He's a player with a skill set that the Giants should be able to use. Some players simply can't get out of the doghouse. That was the problem last year. Jalin Hyatt really has had kind of like a weird career. His production from 2023 was better than 2024. He had double the targets in 2023, and in that year, he had 373 yards, and then last year, he only had 62, which was just crazy. And then also real quick, to give my thoughts on Tyreek Hill and potentially trading for him, I say no. I think it's a no-go. I'm completely out on that. I'm not saying Tyreek Hill's like bad in the locker room, but he certainly has a personality. I don't think he fits with the timeline of what the Giants are trying to build. He's older. He's at the back end of his career. I don't see any reason why adding Tyreek Hill would help this team in their current situation, because it's not like they're going to win. Anyways, next up, Brian Daboll spoke to the press during OTAs, and let's take a look at some of the things he said.
Well, good to get out here. Phase 3 portion of it. Be able to compete against one another, albeit with certain restrictions, 50-50 balls, not a lot of running game. Make sure our offense and defensive line are practicing the right way. But just to go ahead and execute the schemes against the opponent, defense or offense, it's good to get out here and do that. We've had a productive, say, month and a half here since they've been back. Everybody's here today. Not everybody will participate, but everybody is here. And we've had great attendance throughout the offseason program. So look forward to getting out here and get started.
So yeah, man, a lot of good stuff. It's an exciting time right now to be a New York Giants fan. A lot of things are getting underway. There's a lot of hype. I know that a lot of you guys are sick of what's happened over the last decade or so, and you're ready for things to finally start to turn around. But I think the Giants do have some momentum. They made a lot of noise this offseason, a lot of additions. It's going to be exciting to watch everything unfold over the next few months as we start to approach week 1 of the NFL season, which, believe it or not, is going to be here before we know it. The offseason always flies once you get to OTAs and training camp. The summer just goes fast. But yeah, if you made it to this point in the video and enjoyed, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe, because your support truly does mean the world. And also, let me know what you would like to see next. And until then, I will see you all later.